everybody, it's Georgia Weedman, author of Penetration Testing, a hands-on introduction to hacking, and your instructor for this accompanying lab. So this time we're going to take a look at cracking WEP. So this, hopefully you won't see too much WEP anymore, but you never know. And WEP, like LM-Hash on Windows, is just broken. If we can get enough packets, we can brute force the authentication for it. So definitely it should not be used in production. For this one, we actually want to open up 2 terminals. So if you click on the lab link twice, in previous ones I've just opened up additional terminals in Kali, but these will hook up to the same backend just because we're gonna have something running and then run some other commands and what have you. And we do want to turn on, I think mine's already on. You do want to turn on your monitor mode. So, you do that with, airmon ng and start on WLAN 0. Mine's already on, so I don't have to do that one. And so we are going to crack WEP. So let's start up aerodump, just like we did in the last one, ng. Let's just output it to Georgia's book. You can name it whatever you want. The interface, we want mon, and this is going to be on channel 6. We're going after the Linksys router. So you do see Linksys channel 6. It does have WEP. And so at this point, we're just monitoring, we're just capturing packets like we did in the previous example. So now, since there's not really a lot going on in this, there's no real clients, what we can do, because our goal is to get a lot of data here. So we're capturing vectors. Basically, when we want to capture initialization vectors, I encourage you to read the book. I did all the mathy stuff in chapter 15 of the book about how WEP works and all that. So I encourage you, if you haven't already, pick up a copy of my book, Penetration Testing, a hands-on introduction to hacking. Certainly, you can Google and get all the math behind this basically, but our goal is we want to grab as many initialization vectors as humanly possible. And that will allow us to brute force the key space. Data's going pretty slow. We want data to go faster. Oh, I really screwed everything up now because it should be okay because I switched over my 2 guys here. So what I want to do is use another tool in the AirCrack suite called Air Replay. Basically, I'm going to authenticate. I'm going to fake authenticate. I'm going to pretend to authenticate with this guy. And the name of it is Linksys. I need the hardware address of the base station, which is this. Basically, I need its MAC address. And I also need my MAC address. Well, what would be the MAC address of my air cracking dongle thingy. But yours is actually, it's going to be in the lab manual, as well as it's actually this guy right here. But yours may be different. It's going to be in the lab manual. It'll say what your hardware address is, and I think I'll have them put it on the main page too, because typically you would have that sitting there, but now you don't because it's in the lab. So you need to tell it your own hardware address, and then go, and we should get a successful authentic association. We're not really authenticated, but we're associated with the base station. It will accept additional packets from us. And then what we want to do is basically just replay an ARP request to generate more packets. More packets means more initialization vectors, which means more data, which means more hacking. So we want air replay again, and this time we want method 3, And again, we want the base station ID. Why they can't have everything be the same, I'll never know, because this one's -B. There's a lot of just like looking up what the syntax is for things in our lives, right? But -H is the same. And again, Yereman. And now we're getting some ARP requests. Once we start getting ARP requests, we should start to see our data start to go up really, really fast. I think in the lab manual, it stops it at about 90,000. The exact number you're going to need is going to vary. But, you know, I'm not just going to sit here and talk for forever. But, you know, when you get up to, say, like 90,000 or so in your data, go ahead and kill it. And then you can use aircrack. You know, we've called it aircrack, but we've yet to see aircrack. We've got airmon, we've got air replay, but we actually also have aircrack in G, and we tell it the base station we want to crack, and that's this guy. And then, you know, I called mine George's book, but in the one I did before this to test it, I named it book. So I'll do bookstar.cap. So basically I'm telling it, take all the data you got in bookstar.cap and crack the WEP key for that base station that has the hardware address, you know, 002369F5, so on and so forth, which is that Linksys. And that's the key. Like I said, this, if you do capture enough initialization vectors for this, and again, you know, all the math and how this works is in the book chapter as well as undoubtedly on Google. But, you know, the thing is that the key space, we can definitely, you know, brute force it. Whereas when we look at the next one with the WPA2, it will be based on, you know, is the word in our word list, like with password cracking. But, you know, this is considered broken, so WEP should not be used in production ever. If you do see WEP, you can definitely, you know, using this method, we can definitely get the key. I mean, the main thing you need to remember is that that -H for the hardware, that is going to be, that would be the MAC address that's on the back of your USB dongle if it was here. But, you know, just pull it from the lab manual and it should all be good. And so, yeah, that's cracking WEP. Seems kind of simple, but it's also really kind of cool, right? And it's cool that we're doing it online. So next time we'll look at doing WPA2. See you then. Bye now.